330 now. So we have like roughly $130,000 in equity. Now you can't take that all out, right? Because you do have to do two things. You're taking out a new mortgage where you're going to put 25% down. So, right, that's $115,000 using these round numbers. So you're going to have to keep 115 grand in there. Then you're going to have to take $330,000 of your 460 total and pay off your old mortgage, right? You have to go pay that off. So between the 330 in your original loan payoff and the 115 you need to keep in this deal, that's $445,000. And if the property is worth 460, if that's what it appraises for, that means you can pull out $15,000. That's awesome, right? It's not some massive thing, but you can see how this is going to help you for that next deal, right? After 3 years, you've saved $15,500 a year. That's over $46,000. Plus, you can access this $15,000 from a cash out refinance, meaning that you're going to have now $60,000 for your next deal while you own a cash flowing rental property that's going to generate you over $1,000 a month once you move out. I hope you can see where this is going, right? Yes, that first year, it's not the most exciting thing. Yes, you're saving a lot of money over your living expenses, but just 3 years later, now you have a cash flowing rental property. You have over $1,000 in cash flow. You have tens of thousands of dollars of equity into this deal. This is incredible, right? This is an amazing thing. And this is just your first deal. Now, what did that next property look like? What should you be looking for in that next deal? Well, I told you this was going to be boring. So all you got to do is literally the exact same thing. Go buy another small multifamily, move into it, fix it up, and wait. The only difference I would recommend is maybe looking for either a slightly nicer property or a bigger value add opportunity. Like if you're willing to take on a bigger renovation, that might work because now you have more capital to play with. Remember, last deal we said 35,000, but using our estimates from, and just our example using these rough numbers, probably a 50 to 60 grand to play with here. And so if you're willing to take on a bigger renovation, that's what I would personally do. Rather than buying a nicer place that's more expensive, I would focus on building equity. Value add investing is a great way to accumulate more capital to use for your third deal and your fourth deal and to start to see this thing really start to snowball. So maybe let's just call it buying a 4-unit this time worth $420,000. So that's $105 a unit, absolutely achievable, but you are going to need to put more money into this, right? We're buying something that needs a bigger rehab. You're going to need about $20-ish, $22,000 for closing, down payment, reserves. But now you're going to have, let's say, $35,000, $40,000 to invest in the rehab. And that's a lot of money. That's really allows you to push up the value of this property from, let's say, $420 all the way up to $500,000, which is a totally reasonable expectation, right? You actually could do something like that. Investing $40 to earn another $40, totally reasonable, right? And that's it. This is the formula. Like, this is the boring way that you can get rich. You just do the same thing over and over again. And if you're not convinced, let me actually just walk you through what this might look like at the portfolio level. And we're going to look at this on sort of a 15-year time horizon. I'll show you that you're going to really start to enjoy this benefits just a couple of years into this. But by 15 years, if you do this for 15 years, you are going to completely transform your financial life. So I'm just going to walk you through this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can actually see the spreadsheet I'm using. But for everyone who's just listening on audio, I will describe this to you. Basically, what you see, I've separated it into two different sections. The first is the cash flow, how much cash flow you're actually generating to live your life each year. And then I've calculated something called total benefit. That is basically the equity that you have in your property plus the cumulative cash flow for all of your properties. So that's basically the total benefit that you have generated from all of your properties together in a given year. Let's talk about cash flow first. In your first year of doing this strategy, you only own one deal, and you're technically losing about $2,300 a year on this property. But as we discussed, when you compare that to living somewhere else, you're actually saving close to $15,000 a year. In year two, it gets a little bit better. You're losing slightly less money, but again, saving more. Same thing happens in year three. That's when you actually go out and buy your next property. And this is where your cash flow really starts to increase. Now, a lot of people might think, oh, how is it going to increase my cash flow if I'm pulling out money? Well, it's simple. That first deal, now instead of renting out 2 units, remember this is a 3-unit property, you're now renting out 3 units. And actually, in this scenario,